Hello, welcome to Planet 40k, and today we're looking at a 1000 point list from the Arks of Omen's Grand Tournament Mission Pack. Let's take a look at the list and we'll start with the HQs. So first off is the Changecaster. He is 80 points and he is going to be my Warlord. Lovely little unit and slightly underrated. I've given him the Warlord trait Born of Sorcery for the +1 to Psychic tests. The powers are Gaze of Fate, Infernal Gateway, and of course he comes with Smite, and the weapon is standard as Ritual Dagger. Now the psychic powers, Gaze of Fate, we want to try and keep that the Warp Storm points per turn to try and add up to help us later on in the battle. And Infernal Gateway is a lovely little cluster psychic ability that can get rid of some small units, screens, and just a big mortal wound bomb that would be difficult to get rid of. So that's why we've gone with that. A nice little tactic we're going to look at is the Warp Portal. So for 1 CP, we can take the Zinch character model from your army, and then to make a normal move, we remove it from the battlefield and set up anywhere within 9 inches within enemy models. That's brilliant for 1 CP, anywhere around the board, secondary wise, behind enemy lines, reality rebels. This board is a reality as is the inventory keyword. And also if you're depending on secondaries as well, if you give him psychic interrogation, he can get within range to do that, within 24 inches to do that. So VP just adds up with this guy. It's a lovely little trick. The next HQ is Skulltaker for 110 points. Really like this guy. Cool looking model as well. And if you've got one, count yourself a very lucky soul. So I'm struggling to find one. He is equipped with the Slayer Sword and it ignores invulnerable saving throws. He has a reroll hit and wound rolls against enemy characters, and he has an Aura Herald Corn to reroll wound rolls of 1. And obviously he can help buff Bloodletter Cores, which is Bloodletters and Blood Crushers, to add 1 to the melee attack rolls. So nice little synergy there for the Skulltaker. So let's have a look at one of the stratagems we can use for this guy. So we use this stratagem when an enemy character model is destroyed by a melee attack made by this Skulltaker model from our army. And then we get the Slayer of Champions aura. So while this corn unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts a mortal wound on the target in addition to normal damage. And obviously it's capped at 6 mortal wounds per phase as a result of this ability. Can obviously only use the stratagem once. Interesting, nice, can also work with the Bloodletters, which is going to come into play later on in the list. So let's take a look at the troops options. And I've gone with 2 units of Bloodletters, and they're obviously 130 points each. So they are equipped with the Hellblade weapon. They also come free with the Demonic Icon, which ignore all modifiers on combat attrition tests, and Instrument Chaos add 1 to the leadership, which is nice because these guys don't last long. They fail morale quite easily, bless them. So one of the stratagems we can use is Frantic Bloodlust. So use this stratagem at the start of the fight phase, select 1 blood core unit from your army. If this unit is not within engagement range of enemy units, make a normal move up to 6 inches within that unit and must end this move closer to the closest visible enemy unit. Or if this unit is within engagement range of enemy units, you can make a pilot move. Obviously, it can cost 1 CP or 2 CP. Nice if you want to get free movement for a later turn. Very good for late game if you just need to try and get on an objective late game. Very, 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 very interesting. And it's at the start of the fight phase, which is key. So it's your fight phase or their fight phase. So very interesting and a very nice little tactic to look at. Another stratagem to look at is Banner of Blood, which comes up often as long as you've got the icon. So you can use this in your charge phase. Until the end of the phase, each time you make a charge roll for that unit, roll 1 additional d6 and discard the lowest result. If you're like me and you have poor dice rolls, I have had to use this for 6-inch charges. That's just the way I roll. I'm very, very unlucky. But yes, in handy if you need to do a long charge. And if you've got the CP to burn, I'd always use it anyway, just to make sure these guys get in, because they are going to cut through most infantry units like butter. They do hit very, very hard, and they do get targeted because they're obsec, so they might not last very long. So definitely you want to get these guys into combat as quickly as possible. The third unit is the Pink Horrors for 140 points. Crazy little guys these are. I get why they're the most expensive troop choice within the Codex. They're equipped with the Consorting Flames, Assault 2 at 18 inches. Again, I've got the icon and the instrument to ignore combat attrition tests and add one to the leadership. But then we've got the split ability. You roll a d6 for each destroyed model. I'm going to look at that into a little bit more detail next. So the split ability, each time the enemy shoots or fights after resolving those attacks, if any pink horror, Iridescent horror, or blue horror models in the unit were destroyed as a result of those attacks, but the unit was not destroyed, make a split roll. Roll a d6 on a 4 at the model split. So for pink horror or the ascendant horror splits, you can add 2 blue horrors, and then obviously for blue horror model splits, you can add 1 brimstone horror. Each time a model is added to this unit, that model can not be set with engagement range of any enemy units unless you are already within engagement range of those enemy units. Big for splitting, cutting across the board, great board control. Yeah, it's they're very annoying to shift because they have a free up save in ranged. Obviously, if they're in melee, they're toast. 6 up save, they're not going to last. They'll be decimated. But backline and late game board holders to even do actions on the board and still survive, very, very strong, very, very potent. So let's take a look at one of the stratagems, Minions of Magic for 1 CP. You can use this stratagem in the shooting phase when a horror's core unit is selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time a ranged attack is made by a model in that unit, an unmodified roll of 6. Change the armor penetration of that attack to -3. Not bad for a CP. Again, if you've got a CP to spare and you've got a full squad of 10 pinks in there, use it. Could come in handy. Could shift some nasty screening units or infantry units off an objective to help you get on and secure it efficiently. Second stratagem is Flames of Mutation. Use the stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Select 1 horrors unit from your army that had models destroyed during this phase. Select 1 enemy unit engagement of that unit and roll a d6 for each model in that horrors unit that was destroyed during this phase. Each 6 suffers a mortal wound. Again, it's capped at 6 mortal wounds a phase. Yeah, say if you've lost half your unit, could be worth a CP to try and whittle down the unit that you were attacked by. Chances are, though, you probably not survived in that fight phase. You'll probably get cleared because they are very, very, very weak. And lastly, we're going to look at the Warp Storm ability, Dark Invigoration. Now, this is amazing. And it's at any morale phase, so it's your morale phase or your opponent's morale phase. So 1 model in each Legion's Demonica unit from your army can regain up to D3 lost wounds. If every model in that unit has a wounds characteristic of 1, that unit can instead be replenished. When a unit is replenished, you can return D3 destroyed models to that unit to their full wounds remaining. Each returned model no longer counts as having been destroyed for the purpose of the morale test this turn, and it can only be replenished once per turn. So even if you split down and you still have 10, 11 models, you can still bring back your pinks with this. Hence why the Changecaster has the Gaze of Fate to keep Warm Storm points, so you can do this to keep these pinks around a little while longer. You can get rid of your Brimstones and your Blues, and then you can keep bringing the pinks back, and then keep bringing the Blues back, and keep bringing the Brimstones back. Very, very key to this list. It's very, very annoying. But like I said, if they get in melee, they're in a bit of trouble. They can be in a bit of trouble. So we have this to keep them back and be able to shoot and do actions on objectives. Nice little trick. It is expensive Warp Storm wise, hence why we have the Gaze of Fate psychic power on the Changecaster. Next up is the Elites, and we're going for a beautiful big boy, the Beasts of NURGLE. This is 1 model for 70 points. His weapon is Putrid Appendages. He has the Attention Seeker ability, so he can heroically intervene at 6 inches. Gooey Demise, so he explodes on a 6. But if you do not kill him, if he does not die in the shooting phase, or the psychic phase, or the fight phase, he gets all his wounds back. Bosh. So this guy is going to sit on the home objective. Definitely very, very viable, very tough. toughness 6, 7 wounds. Nothing to sniff at. Very, very hard. And for 70 points, bargain. Absolute bargain for what this model, a unit, should I say, can do. I like them. I would like them in groups of 3. Don't have enough points in the list to get 3 of these guys. But yeah, I definitely recommend them. Very, very strong and very, very annoying. Hence the attention seeker ability. They just want to get involved. They're very, very great. Very slow. That's why he'll be on the home objective, protecting that for me. So let's have a look at one of the stratagems, Slime Trail for 1 CP. Use this stratagem at the start of your opponent's movement phase. Select 1 Beast of NURGLE unit from your army. Each time an enemy unit within engagement range of that unit is selected to move, roll 1d6. On a 4-up, that enemy unit cannot fall back this turn. Keeps you engaged with them, keeps them tied up. Can be useful, but if something's charged your Beast of NURGLE, chances are you would think they would have the power to kill the Beast of NURGLE. But if you've charged or heroically intervened with your Beast of NURGLE, this could be handy to just, hopefully, 50-50% chance on the 4-up to keep that unit tied up with the Beast of NURGLE. So a very interesting stratagem to think about and look at there. Next stratagem is Crushing Bolt for 1 CP. So you use this stratagem after a Beast of NURGLE has finished the charge move, and you select 1 enemy unit with engagement range of that unit and roll 1d6 for each model in the charging unit. On a 6+, D3 mortal wounds. On a 9+, D3+3. Better if there's more Beast of NURGLE in the unit. A 3 would be nice. Could be worth it. Again, if you've got the CP to spare, give it a go. If not, save it for something else. Just something to look at. Could come in handy. Probably not within this list, but it's just something to keep you guys aware of what you can potentially do with this unit. Next up is the fast attack, and I've gone with a unit of Flesh Hounds for 75 points. Very interesting little unit. Their weapon is the Gore-Drenched Fangs. I do have the Collar of Corn, so I can deny the Witch Test, and Savage Pounce, add 1 damage on the charge. Now, these guys could be used as an anti-deep strike bubble. They can be used to push forward to try and claim that mid-objective early, or even in the middle of the battle, like about around 3, 4. But for me, I don't know what my opponent's bringing, obviously. So if I think they're bringing Psychers and they're going to want to do Warp Ritual in the middle of the battlefield, these guys are going to stay roughly 20-24 inches away, still within range of that guy, tactically in positioned. And I'm going to try and do that deny the Witch Test. I want to try and deny that Psyker scoring points. If there's no Psyker in the army, then they're going to push onto the mid-board and try and claim an objective and hold an objective for 2 turns before they eventually get killed, because I don't think they'll last that long. But to help me secure an objective, yeah, definitely. Or even assist another unit, again, somewhere else in a fight, home objective, mid-board. Even as a screen as well, you could use them. But they're mainly for that Deny the Witch. So still speaking about that Deny the Witch, we're going to look at stratagem Contempt for Sorcery. So use this stratagem in your opponent's psychic phase after a psychic test is passed for an enemy psycho unit, and after any Deny the Witch attempt is made, if that enemy psychic unit is within 24 inches of this Flesh Hounds unit from your army, roll 1d6, add in 1 to the result if enemy psycho is within 12 inches of any Flesh Hounds from your army. On a 4-up, that psychic power is denied. Very, very interesting. We're definitely going to be using these dogs to try and stop that psychic power going off. It's more, it depends on their secondaries, because you can have a bunch of psychers and they're just going to do a load of smites. Yeah, we want to try and deny that. But for me, it was more of the psychic interrogation and the Warp Ritual. I want to stop my opponent scoring VP, and I think these guys are the best unit at doing that. Within the codex deny wise, obviously non-psycho wise, should I say. I just think they're annoying. They're annoying for it, and I think they're very, very slept on in a way for that little tactic there. I know it's only a small synergy, but it's something definitely to look at, and hence these are all minimum size units. I'm just trying to get the best. I'm trying to squeeze every ounce of ability out of these guys as I can. Second unit in the fast attack is the Screamers for 75 points. They're equipped, the weapon is the Lamprey Bites. They have the Riders of Immaterial Wind, so when I advance, they basically come off the board and then come on anywhere 9 inches within any models at the same turn. Slash and Dive, obviously the unit are free. If they move over a unit, they have 16-inch move. Roll 3d6. Any falls up is a mortal wound. Nice. These guys in this list on 1,000 points, they're definitely going to be staying at the back, just as that empty deep strike bubble. And then depending on the army and depending on what my opponent does, it's all situational. I might have to bomb up to the mid board to contest an objective, try and clear it. They may have to go with the hounds. They may have to go with the bloodletters. I'm not sure at present. It all depends on how it goes. But ideally, if I've got behind enemy lines, I could use the stratagem to move the Changecaster behind enemy lines and then advance these guys to help screen the Changecaster, and then I'm just sat at the back of the map collecting VP. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tactic. So let's look at the Warp Jaw stratagem for 1 CP for these guys. So you use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Screamers unit from your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time an attack is made with a Lamprey Bite or Screamers Bite by that one on the unit, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. Very nice. They hit on 4s, so you'd get 9 attacks with these guys. So the +1 to wound roll could really help try and secure killing some models with these. My only dislike for these guys, I know they have a fast movement and they're quite cheap, really, 75 points for 3 of them, and they have fly, is they have a 3 up save and shooting, but a 6 up in melee, yet they're a melee unit. I get there's each, but I feel they should have a 5 up in melee because they're wanting to fight. It's just a bit of a gripe for me. I find whenever I have these guys, they seem to get in a fight and then they're gone, and then I've lost that movement. Maybe I'm making an error with these guys, I don't know, but I feel like they should be able to do more in melee than they actually do. But yeah, that's a one way we can go with the Warp Jaws stratagem there. And lastly, the heavy support. I'm going with the big boy, the Soul Grinder for 190 points. He will be the NURGLE Soul Grinder, so his toughness 9. He's equipped with the Harvester Cannon, Flamblob Barman, and then he has the Iron Claw, and then I've given him the Warp Claw for the Malefic 4 attacks. I love and hate this guy. I am definitely in a Marmite relationship with this unit. He can be absolutely phenomenal one game and an absolute pile of dog do the next. I don't know about you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Soul Grinder. Yeah, very interesting. Obviously, he's going to go to the center of the board and he's basically going to do the come at me, bro, is what he's going to be doing. He's going to go to the center of the board. So if you've got Reality Rebels, there's a VP, a turn, because he's going to be within 6 inches of the center. It'll also deter Psychers going from the center of the board. He will be targeted, but then he's got his guns that they can be swingy. I found they're a bit better since the Codex has been introduced. So we can shoot anything on the back line to help you get in behind enemy lines if you don't have Reality Rebels. Yeah, I think he can help, especially at 1,000 points, help dominate the mid board. And the key for this list is obviously he's going to go to the middle of the board. You've got the Flesh Hounds and the Screamers and the Pink Horrors at the back with the Changecaster. We're going to be deep striking in Skulltaker and the 2 units of Bloodletters, and then obviously the Beast of NURGLE is going to go on that home objective. So it's all about getting to that mid board, stopping, waiting for the opponent, setting traps, and then the Bloodletters come in and Skulltaker comes in and they're going to clean a unit off. What we won't be doing, the Pink Horrors, is doing Despoilers of Reality as quick as we can. Despoilers, move to the next objective. Despoilers, move to the next objective. Despoilers. Because when that goes off, it's 4 VP a turn. Obviously, we want that, and I think the Bloodletters and the Skulltaker going in together are going to clear units, even quite tanky units. They will clear them, especially with Skulltaker's ignore invuns on his Slayer sword. Very potent, re-rolling hit and wound rolls against characters. So all in all, it's a bit of a herald list. No greater demons here. Let me know your thoughts. Is it an interesting list? Is it competitive? Is it just a bit of fun? I'm going to try out this list, and I'll get back to you in a more in-depth tactical video. Yeah, and I'll let you know how I get on. As always, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.